Good day, everyone. This is B.Gaitor with the second installment of my video blog series where we're going around and interviewing people who are inspirational and who want to make a change inside of their communities. So welcome, everyone. And I want to introduce you guys to somebody that was very important in my life and shaping me to be the man that I am today and still shaping me to become a better man tomorrow. This lady is totally inspirational. I mean, not only did she give birth to me, but she's been my best friend along some rough roads. You know, the times when I didn't think that a legitimate person or a person that wanted to be legitimate could function in an illegitimate world. Where I didn't believe that a person with a kind heart could really make it somewhere in this world. And I know a lot of you feel that exact same way. So with Empower Network, I want to empower people who feel that same way. I want to activate the activists within all of us. And this woman beside me is my mother.
Hello, hello, hello.
So introduce yourself, Mom. Tell them a little bit about yourself and the different things that you're doing in the community.
Well, as Brandon said, I am his mom, and it has been a true pleasure to raise him and to learn from raising him. I think the best part of this is that we created a relationship that was of respect. I always allow Brandon to express himself with respect, of course. I encouraged him to speak his mind with respect to everyone according to their position and age in his life, of course. But I always taught him to speak his mind, and in some cases I think that really backfired on me a few times or two. But in the end, I felt the need to do that to allow him to express himself so that he would become the young man that he is today. So often I think we try to hinder one's growth or hinder one's personality and who they truly are. And so I just never wanted to be that parent. So I allowed him to speak out, to voice his opinion, and always stand up for what he believed was right and to do the right thing. I always told him that it's always okay until it's not. And when it's not, you can't go back in time. You can't reverse time. So always try to make the right decision the first time and consider the consequences in order to make that right decision. And I think many people need to do that today because we get so caught up until we don't consider what would be the result of this or what could be the result of this. And could I handle it if it is door number one or door number two? If it's not, then you may want to reconsider, step back, take some time. But I'm mom.
You can tell she's mom, right?
I am. I'm mom to many, but only had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy that and a few things that I'm doing and the reason why, and I'll tell you how. My number one thing is just transforming lives because my life, I got to a point in my life that I had to really transform my life in order to continue to exist in this world. I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, doing the same things over and over again, ending up in the same places over and over again, and oftentimes with the same type of people over and over again. So I had to determine what is the common denominator in these equations or in these situations or in these occurrences of my life. And it was me. I was the common denominator. So what did I have to do? Change the common denominator or remove myself from the people, places, or things that I was ending or finding myself in. So my situations, the things that I went through, brought me to a point in life, and I thank God for those situations now because I'm now using those situations to reach out, help others through the Butterfly Evolution radio show, Blog Talk radio show, through the 901 Butterflies, which we'll talk a little bit about. But basically, my life brought me to a point where, if I could be as transparent,
Be as free as you want.
okay.
As free as you want.
And this was long before, but Brandon, I've shared this on my radio show as well. But I remember, and there's so many things you can get out of this one thing, and we can just kind of ended there, really, if we wanted to. But Brandon was in first grade, and I had gotten to a point. We were just going through a lot of things. It was just everything seemed to be ending before they really started. So, with tough childhood and things happening, losing my grandmother at such a young age, who was my rock. And I'm 45 now, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. I'm a 45.
We won't tell everybody, but yeah, something like that.
You know, you go through things as a child that you don't deal with. So becoming I was a young mom, 21, had Brandon. Some say not so young, but to me, young, in the midst of living my life, doing things not really grounded, seeking my father, longing for my grandmother, dealing with, well, shortly after that, dealing with then the passing of my grandfather. It just was, things was just happening so quickly in life that I really didn't deal with. I just dealt with them. Okay, let's deal with them. And I remember this particular day, I said nothing to Brandon, but I was just tired. I was just like, Lord, this is not life. This is not worth living. And I was really contemplating suicide. And I went into the room, and I mean, seriously contemplating. And without a word, Brandon, I see this little finger come up under the door with a little note that was perfectly folded, and he never knocked, he never said a word. He basically slid the note under the door, and as if he walked away. And so that, of course, caught my attention. And when I opened the letter, it said, "Mom, I love you," and it had a little heart drawn on it. And that was my awakening moment. Now, it took me a very long time to get out of the bed. When you say that was my awakening moment, I had to process that moment, process my life, and then say, okay, whoa, it's you. Whoa, it's somebody else. What are you going to do about it? Get up. And I feel like at that time in my life, I got to see God in a different way, because I started to see all the times that God was really there with me, but I wasn't paying attention. All the grace and the mercy, all the things that He kept me from a time where Brandon and I were going well, I was going shopping. I was going to pick up a dress. I don't know if you remember this. It was so late. I shouldn't have been out with Brandon, being little by himself. And it was around the same time. I think he was about second grade then. But I remember going to the mall really late. They were about to close. And for whatever reason, I could not park. I was so drawn not to park where I wanted to park. It was like this heavy spirit. Don't park here. It would have been much more convenient for me to park there. And for whatever reason, it just came over me. Don't park here. Don't park here. So I didn't. I rode around, parked on the other side. But the other side that we went in, as we were going in, there were security guards and people just running out of the door that we would have been coming into. And what we found out is a lady she had just gotten robbed in that same little quiet area that I was going to park. As quick as we could park, get out of our car, walk in, they were running out. And I just remember thinking, that could have been me. And so often I feel that the Holy Spirit, that God speaks to us, He shelters us, He protects us, He directs us. We don't listen. And that was in a time where I was seeking God, but I still had all my stuff. So fast forward, because I could tell you plenty more stories, encounters that Brandon and I have had, and hopefully he'll bring me back on and I'll share some more, because they're truly inspiring. As I look back again, I see God all over my life.
So with all of these experiences, is that what caused you to start the Butterfly Evolution radio show? Is that what inspired you to start 901 Butterflies, where you help the girls in the neighborhood and surrounding areas?
Absolutely, because I was one of those young girls. I was the 5th grade girl who when I heard my name over the intercom, I instantly knew my grandmother is dead. And I instantly knew that this will forever change my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I instantly was fearful. I instantly um, tried to figure out, even before I got to the point of going home, I tried to figure out a way out of this. So much so to where I remember standing over my grandmother saying, "You got to wake up. You have to wake up. You can't leave me." And this is as a fifth grader.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people around me doing what they do. And it seemed like eternity that I was standing there because her body was still there in the bed. I remember hearing the next voice I remember hearing was my dad saying, why do you all have her standing there like that? But I think they were so in tuned in their pain until they didn't realize. But I was that young girl who has lost someone, who needed someone, who felt like, what now? Where do I go? What happens? And then everything after that seemed to be a domino effect. Everything led to another disappointment.
Hmm.
So what I noticed was young girls and women that carried that pain. I could see that pain. It might not be the exact same thing. They may not have lost a grandmother. They may not have lost a parent, but we had one thing in common, and that was a lot of pain.
Hmm.
So much so until it buried the joy and the life.
And I guess you could imagine that there are countless girls out there that are going through pains, that are going through bullying at school, going through being molested. I've heard that a million times. I mean, how many girls out there? It might be you. You might be watching this and be one of these young girls that did not have a support system or anyone to run to or anyone to talk to, or maybe you were too afraid to speak to your parents because you thought they would judge you or see you different, or maybe you were afraid to talk to your friends. You don't know. I don't know. But what my mother is doing with 901 Butterflies is she's giving these young girls someone to come to, an example to look up to, an exemplary woman who can show them how to have class, to have integrity, how to not settle for something less than they deserve.
Right. And I want to just comment a little bit more on that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one particular meeting where I had probably the most girls I've had probably ever. But I remember hearing their stories because we get really deep. We get really deep. They really let go. And this particular one, I remember sitting there thinking how awesome God is. And this is going to sound a little crazy because as I'm saying how awesome God is, I'm thanking God for everything that broke me, because I saw myself in just about every young lady there. I had something that I had gone through, not that I had heard about, but something I could relate because I had been there. I had done that. I had gone through it. And I shared that with them. I said, it's awesome because every one of your stories registered to me. There's a sense of pain for that very same thing. And I can stand here before you and tell you, you can get through it because I did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say, look for God in your situations, in your obstacles, in the things that you go through, and say, God, where are you? And just commit that I'm going to grow through this thing, and it's going to bring glory to God, and I'm going to use it to bring someone else out of their hell.
One thing I always say is that problems are just shadows of solutions. You just got to turn around and see what's actually making the light, or what's blocking the light. And it might even be yourself. I say this all the time, guys. Get out of your own way. Sometimes we hold ourselves back from being, from having low self-esteem and not believing in ourselves. We hold ourselves back so much. And remember, every time there's a problem, there's an opportunity somewhere. If you just turn around, someone going through a problem, they have an opportunity to grow through that. When you see this person going through a problem, you have an opportunity to help them, to purify your own heart, and both of you can grow there. So it's not just I have my problems, they have their problems. We're all connected and interwoven into the fabric of this world. And we have to realize that, because where one thread breaks away, another one and another one and another one, and it's no longer one whole piece of cloth. We are all connected together. And that's why I speak about compassion and about being positive, because somebody can be having a bad day and all you do is just say hello, or you smile at them, or you give them a compliment, and you can make their day. And little do you know, that person could have gone and killed themselves. Think about my mother, when I was in first grade. Imagine if that note that I wrote that said, "I love you, Mom. I love you." Just those simple words had not passed under the door. I could not have my mother right now.
A first grader being able to just perceive that energy, that something's wrong with my mom. Something's not right, because I didn't say a word. I slipped away and I closed the door and I locked it. And God can use all of us, even a first grader. And as I want to talk a little bit about the Butterfly Evolution radio show. The show tonight that I did was "What's the Root of It All?" And the one major thing that I received out of that, and I think it would be beneficial to you all as well, is God is love. If we had an opportunity to explain what love is based on how we see love being distributed throughout our lives, how would you describe it? Think about families, how we treat one another, how we talk to one another, how we react to one another, how we don't forgive. And I'm speaking to myself as well, because I'm still a working process, going through and expecting progress. But if you had to describe love based on your perception, based on what you see happening in this world, how we love, what is taking place, how would you explain it? And it brought me back to God is love. And God is my creator. And I have been renewed and become Christ-like, which means now I am loved. Love. Anything outside of that, I'm out of my norm. I'm out of my era. And that puts me off balance instantly anyway. So many of us are operating out of love or lack of love because we've not been loved, or we feel that we've not been loved the way that we need to be loved. So what do we need to do? We need to express our communication or our language. What does it take for me to be loved or feel loved? Now, of course, we can't do that at age 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on. And that's where it helps for you all to be responsible, whole, healthy, happy parents, people, before you bring children into this world. Does it always happen that way? Absolutely not. But when I found out I was pregnant with Brandon, I remember exact words. There's just some things you never forget. I have to get myself together. Before I left the hospital, I have to get my life together. Before I knew he was a boy or girl, all I knew was that I was pregnant. And I refuse to bring Brandon up in dysfunction. I refuse to bring him up with the sense of not being loved. All those things that I felt I had gone through, I wanted to reverse. Now, did I do absolutely everything? Absolutely not. We still had our challenges, as you can see from my first story. We still went through things, but I don't think Brandon ever felt unloved.
Never.
Ever.
Never. I got the best mom in the world, y'all. I love you. For real. And just having that support system, or a mother and a father that supports you and love you unconditionally, that makes, a hell of a difference in a child's life. I mean, I saw so many children and people my age growing up through school, so many of them that did not have those parents, did not have those support systems. And I would look to my mom and just kind of smile. And sometimes she'd be like, what are you thinking about? And I wouldn't tell her, but I was thanking God for her, because, even to this day, I realize different things that she said in the past that have helped me currently, and it didn't click back then, but now it clicks, and I never thought it would, but of course now it does. And I just want to say thank you for being that for me and being an inspiration to me. And I've noticed the change in my mother, because, there was a time, and still is with me, where, we're hot-headed a little bit, hot-headed. But now she's peaceful. Now don't get me wrong, don't cross her path, but it's a way of approaching things. She can pick and choose her battles. She knows which ones to say, God, I know you got that, and which ones to say, hey, I'm about to take up arms. She understands that balance, I think, now. And just to see her grow with fulfilling her purpose, because I truly believe that Butterfly Evolution, her radio show, the job and the work that she's doing in the community with these young girls, I truly believe that that's her purpose. And seeing her fulfill her passion and her purpose, and fulfilling, the desires within her heart, the pure desires within her own heart, that's motivated me. And I've seen that change in her. I've seen the building blocks and the foundation of her life, be laid out for her. I've seen all the traffic lights that once were red or yellow turn green. And I've seen her become successful just in spirit. So many people measure success in terms of money, or in terms of reputation, or in terms of what people think about you, or things of that nature, how many people know your name. But truly, I can say that my mother is wealthy beyond bounds, wealthy beyond anything that this world could quantify or fit inside of a box, because she has compassion for other human beings. She has a want to help people. She has a love for your common person that I think a lot of people hardly even have for their families. And, so when you see people out in the street, or you see people, that someone might judge, you see somebody who's gangbanging, you see somebody who's cripping, VL, GD or Blood or whatever the gang may be, and you might judge them, but you don't know what that person went through. You don't know what that person's story was. They might have been missing a familial unit at home. Mm-hmm. They might have been missing love from a mother, or missing love from a father, or missing the interactions between siblings, and felt, disenfranchised, or felt like they had no one to turn to. And the people who are the doctors and the lawyers and the politicians, they're not going to these kids and saying, hey, I can help you. Let me show you an alternative. And let me show you a different way of life that I think could better you, instead of ending you dead or in jail. They don't have that. So what happens? Gang or somebody out in the street, or somebody out there thugging does something. They show compassion to them. They say, hey, you hungry? I got you. Hey, you need to be protected? Here's a gun. Hey, you need to, you need some money? I got you. You need a way to make $1? Here, sell this. I'll fight for you. I'll fend for you. I'll do all this. All these things, this protection, this providing, this food and shelter. Those are things that you usually see in a familial unit. But because that lacks at home, people find it in the street. And not only do they find it in the street and they need help, but you might walk around and you might judge them. Mm-hmm. Not knowing to where you could have extended your hand and you could have helped them. You could have had a conversation with them. Instead of clenching your purse, you could have started a conversation. You never know. He might have wanted to rob you. But I'm telling you guys, your power of intention and of your thought, if you think something bad is going to happen, it's probably going to happen. If you think something good is going to happen, it's probably going to happen. There's a story that my boss told me, my boss at work, and I work for the city, for the city government here, trying to make this place a little better. I'm working on both ends. I'm working out in the street, and I'm working, in the office. But he told me, when somebody moves to a city and they say, hey, how is this city? You say, how was the last city you lived in? And they say, oh, it wasn't that good. Say, well, this one won't be that good. If they say, oh man, it was a great city and I'm excited about moving here, then this city will be a great city. But it's what you make it. It's what your mentality and your perception forms into reality. It's the manifestation of whatever you think. So watch your words, because they have power. Watch your thoughts, because they have power. Watch your actions, because they have power. So once again, I want to thank you. I know we out here running 25 minutes in for a show, but
I don't know why we said 5 minutes, because we can do anything in 5 minutes. But I do want to just say one last thing. I could go on and on, but
Okay.
you talk about having that heart and having a compassion for people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this: there's a true difference in being in God, of God, in the Word, and having that compassion and that heart for people versus being in the world and having that heart for people, because the transformation, I feel that I've always had that compassion from day one. However, it is times 100 when you're walking in the Word, when you're seeking God, when you, as like today, I went to eat lunch with Brandon, and I
And my
decided
grandma.
to, yeah, and my mom, I decided to take the scenic route home. And as I passed people, my heart hurt for them because you could see hopelessness, you could see pain, you could see I'm
Despair.
stuck, you could see poverty. And when you can pass it in your car, in your air, going back to your house in Cordova or wherever you go, and it affects you to the point it does me almost every time I see it, it's different. It's a different compassion. It's that it's no longer that you have a heart for it, it is your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes your heart. And you walk around with it daily. And that's something that I pray that each and every one of us long for, is to have that compassion to where you're moved by someone's pain that you don't know, where you're moved to do something, where you feel that pain, where you want to do something. So if we can get back to a place where we know how to love first in your own homes, knowing how to love God, knowing how to love yourself, and start with your family. Brandon talked about that order. Um, if I don't have the love of my father or my brother, the men in my life or the sisters in my life, my family, how and what am I to expect from the world?
Mm-hmm.
My barriers are up instantly. My wall is up instantly, because if the people who are in my bloodline, who saw me as a child, who helped raise me, who know me, if I feel unloved by those people, then what do I expect from you? So,
And on the flip side of that, imagine if somebody in that position expects nothing of you, or they expect you to do them detriment. They expect for you to do them harm. And what
mm,
do? You show compassion. You show them love. You extend a hand. Or maybe you just lend an ear and you take time out of your day from your busy schedule, from checking your Facebook
mm,
and going to work and seeing what's on TV and catching your favorite show. You take a couple minutes out of that busy schedule of somewhat meaningless things,
mm,
and you lend them your ear. You take time to say, "Hey, what's wrong? I got a couple minutes." And if those don't work, I give you more. When you do that and they didn't expect that love from you, they didn't expect that compassion from you, you could totally change their life. You can give them a whole 180 in direction. You can change their perception of the world. You can change their perception of humanity. You can give them faith in humanity again. Everybody when they think about miracles, they look for things to fall out of the sky and the earth to crack open. But I'm telling you guys, you look in the mirror, and that's a miracle.
mm.
Now imagine what you can be, being that miracle to somebody else. You just have to realize it. Realize yourself. Realize who you are, what you can be, and understand that that is limitless. And not all, I know. Well, we got to go ahead and wrap it up. We
Yeah.
could go forever,
I
but
want to give
go
out the
ahead.
information about the radio show and
Yeah.
about 901 Butterflies. Butterfly Evolution is a blog talk radio show that airs each Monday night and each Tuesday night. The way to get on the show is www.bgaitor, www.blogtalkradio.com/butterfly evolution. Again, blogtalkradio.com/butterfly evolution. I'm on Facebook under Butterfly Evolution as well, under Tammy Gator as well. The call-in number for the show, for the live show, is 818-691-7406. Again, 818-691-7406. That's the call-in number for the live show. You are able to listen to all archive shows 24/7 by logging on to the website. 901 Butterflies, if you know of someone or you're interested in duplicating the efforts of 901 Butterfly for your area code 678 Butterflies 404, please connect with me. This is something that I would like for every young girl in every city to be a part of. So there is a way for women to give back in your area code. Again, whatever your area code is, there could be butterflies there as well. Memphis, you can contact me for information on the group. Let's see, did I miss anything?
I think you covered it. I think you got it.
Okay, and just transformation. Welcome change, and get some God in your life.
Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate you.
And he truly is my best friend too. He really, really is.
Thank you. That means a lot. That really does mean a lot.
Yeah, I call on him a lot now. Sometimes I think, wow, it's a little strange to call on you and ask, what do you think about this and what about this? But I do that quite often. Every time I go to lunch, with the exception of today, I take notepad and paper because I learned so much from his wisdom, and I thank God for that. It's by God's grace and mercy that we have the relationship we have. I was never crazy enough not to pray. That's something I know that my grandmothers did. They were praying people. And so I fell on my knees many nights. And I give all the praise and the glory to God for who I am, for who Brandon is, and who we are together.
I think those prayers work, and I just want to thank you again for staying up. Mwah.
And I heard you call me hothead too.
You are. So. I am too, though. But again, y'all, this is my mother. Check her out. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. You can find her there within my friends list.
And I'll be doing Empowering Network. I'll be starting my own blogging soon. So
she's signing up tonight for Empower Network. And if for the people that are tuning in, and this is the first video you've seen, Empower Network is the means of which I'm providing this blog. And what it is just a group of individuals of all ages who are making a living off of their lifestyle. They're doing video blogs. They're writing posts of inspirational things, reading inspirational books and motivational books, and just learning how to craft themselves into a better person, being better tomorrow than they were today. Being in a constant state of transformation,
change.
And that's what we value here at Empower Network. Not only is it a means of expressing your lifestyle to the world, but also you can become financially stable and financially successful within this business and video blogging and expressing your lifestyle to others. What I'm doing is I'm just using this platform not just to make money, not just for that bottom line, but I want to also empower people spiritually and from the inside out. It's one thing to fill your pockets. That's only going to get you so much in this world, but it's another thing to fill your heart with the things that you need to get through this life and to have compassion to another human being, which at the end of the day might get you into heaven. That's what matters. What's $1 million to 1,000,000 blessings? Which would you rather? So thank you guys again for tuning in. If you want to join the Empower Network, you want to start blogging about your lifestyle, there's a link somewhere around here. It's probably below in a comment or something, because sometimes Facebook be tripping. But, you'll be seeing a lot more of me. This is only... Huh?
They can inbox.
You can inbox me. Look at my mom teaching me Facebook. But any way of contacting me, guys, I'm here. I'm here. Well, thank you again for watching. I know it's been a little long, but hey, it was worth it. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Good night.